Hi, and welcome to a quick demo on setting up a tournament schedule. As a club director or statistician, you're going to need to set up a tournament schedule in order to tell us when your tournaments are taking place, and then later to enter the results for those tournaments. So to create a tournament schedule, I start by clicking on Club Maintenance over here on the left-hand side. Once I do that, the Club Maintenance screen comes up, and I'll click on Add Edit Tournament to begin to create my schedule. Once I do that, the tournament schedule screen comes up, and there's a piece of the screen where you can go ahead and add new tournaments. So to this point, and then once you've added the tournaments, they'll show up down here under the existing tournaments part of the screen. As you can see, to this point, I haven't created any tournaments yet, so this part of the screen is currently empty. You can schedule up to 36 tournaments. You can choose to schedule them all at once at the beginning of the season, or you can schedule them as you like throughout the year. So maybe you create, say, 9 at a time, and then you come back later after those first 9 are played and you create 9 more. It's really up to you. Some people like to create the entire schedule all at once so that they can print out the schedule and give it to their members, something that they can put on their fridge and have with them. Other people prefer to create them a little bit at a time throughout the year. Some parts of the country there's inclement weather, maybe tournaments get canceled. It's easier to just sort of adjust the schedule and create the tournaments as you go. It's really up to you. In this particular case, I'm going to show an example of creating 9 tournaments, and then I'll go ahead and create the other 27 just so you can see what a full schedule looks like. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create 9 tournaments to start with. So I'm going to choose 9 for the number of tournaments that I want to create. You can choose the frequency, so if your club meets every week, you can create a tournament every week. You can also choose to create a tournament every 2 weeks. Maybe your club just meets every other week. Or if your club meets once a month, you can create a tournament every 4 weeks. You can then choose the day. So our club, the club that I have set up here, meets on Mondays. So I'm going to choose Monday, the first Monday in September, to be the first tournament that I want to create. And then the program is smart enough to know that because I want to create 9 tournaments, it'll create them every single Monday on subsequent weeks after that. It's got the information for my club already pre-filled in, the information that I provided when setting up the club. And now I go ahead, now I've selected that I want 9 tournaments starting on the 5th of September. Go ahead and I click Add New Tournaments. The page reloads. The prompt tells me that the tournaments have been successfully added to the list below. And now I scroll down, and you'll see that I have 9 tournaments that I've created starting on September 5th and going through the 31st of October. You'll notice here that the tournaments are sorted from last to first. The thinking there is that as you're going through the season, you're going to want the most recent tournaments at the top so that if you're scheduling additional tournaments, you can just scroll right down. Right here you can see that the most recent tournament is on the 31st of October, and so when it's scheduling additional tournaments, you'll know what date to start from with the subsequent tournaments. So let me go ahead, now that I've created 9, I'll go ahead and create the rest. So I have 27 left to create. You'll see that here that it only lets me go to 27, so it's smart enough to figure out that you can only create 36 tournaments in total, and it looks at how many you've already created and make sure you don't create more than 36. So you can select 27. I still want them to be every week. The tournament that I created was on the 31st, so now I'm going to go to the calendar, and I see that the first Monday after the 31st is the 7th of November. So I'm going to start the next 27 on the 7th of November. I'm going to go ahead and add those tournaments. And now you'll see that the page reloaded. You'll notice that I can the part of the screen that was for adding new tournaments has gone away because it knows that I've already created 36 and you can only create 36, so it doesn't let you create more than 36 once those 36 have been created. So now I've got 36 tournaments created. They start on the 5th of September and they go to the 7th of May. Now I can look through this schedule here that I've just created and make sure the dates look okay. Here I see, around Christmas time that, the way the schedule works out, that there's a tournament on the 26th of December. I'm not going to make, I love cribbage, but I'm not going to make my club play on the 26th of December right after Christmas. So I want to delete that tournament and schedule another one for later in the season to take its place. So in order to edit a tournament, you click on the tournament number that's next to the date of the tournament. So in this case, it's tournament 17 that I just want to delete and move to later in the year. I can actually do that one of two ways. I can delete the tournament by clicking on this button down here, and then reschedule it again for the later date, or I can just change the date to a later date. Either one will accomplish the same thing. So in this case, I'm going to delete the tournament. So now that tournament has been deleted. You'll notice that now I have the ability to add another tournament because now I've only got 35 scheduled instead of the 36 I had before. And you'll notice that it automatically renumbered the tournaments. So it goes from tournament 16 on the 19th of December to tournament 17 on the 2nd of January. And now I have the ability to add one more tournament. So my 35th tournament is scheduled for the 7th of May. So now I'm going to go ahead and add one additional tournament on the 14th of May. So I add that tournament, boom, now I've got my 36 tournaments again, and I am all set. For those people who are interested in creating all the tournaments and printing out a schedule, or even creating them, 9 at a time and printing out those 9 and giving to their club members, there's a printer-friendly tournament schedule that you can get to after you create the schedule. And from this screen, if you scroll to the bottom of the schedule here, you'll see that there's a print option, and that will connect to your printer and print out the schedule that's formatted here. One other thing to point out is that you can add comments. If you're playing on a quarterly system, you can comment that a particular tournament is the first tournament of the quarter. If there's any special events, or if there's tournaments at different times. I know certain times clubs meet say on a different day or things like that throughout the season, maybe for Christmas or things like that. You can go into to any tournament and edit it, and there's a comments field, so you can add a comment about maybe why the time is different or anything you want, and update it accordingly. So I can change this to last tournament, yay, and update it. And now when I continue, if I go to the schedule, you'll notice here that at the very bottom it says last tournament, yay. And so that's it. Now I've created a tournament schedule that I can manage, that I can then enter the results for at a later point, or I can print a schedule out. I'm all done. Thanks for watching.